Break free from the endless grip of fear through conscious awareness. Fear is a shadow that follows us through life. It whispers in our ears during moments of uncertainty, grips our hearts when we face the unknown, and shapes our decisions more than we care to admit. But have you ever wondered, what is fear, truly? Is it a necessary survival instinct, or has it become an invisible chain holding us back from living fully? Today, we embark on a journey, not through mystical lands or ancient temples, but through the depths of our minds. Imagine this: you're standing at the edge of a vast ocean, the waves roaring with the intensity of every fear you've ever felt. Each wave is a memory, a moment when fear dictated your actions. But here's the truth most of us overlook: you are not the waves. You are the observer standing on the shore. Conscious awareness is that shore. It is the stillness that watches the chaos without becoming it. But how do we cultivate this awareness when fear feels so overwhelming? Let's begin with a simple, yet profound realization. Fear thrives in the absence of awareness. The moment you bring your full attention to fear, it begins to lose its power. Have you ever noticed that the things you fear most are often those you avoid thinking deeply about? Why do we fear exploring our fears? I invite you now to close your eyes, even for a moment, and bring to mind a fear that has lingered in your life. Not just a surface-level fear like public speaking or heights, but a deeper one. Perhaps the fear of failure, of rejection, of not being enough. Now, instead of pushing it away, simply observe it, feel its weight, its texture. Does it have a shape in your mind? A color? Here is where our journey truly begins. What if I told you that fear is not your enemy but a misunderstood guide? You see, fear often points to what we value most. We fear losing what we cherish, failing at what we dream of, or being seen as less than what we hope to be. But can you imagine a life where fear no longer controls you? Where you face every challenge with clarity and calm? This is not an unattainable dream. It is the reality that conscious awareness offers. But let's pause and ask a question that might unsettle you. If you were stripped of all your fears right now, who would you be? Would your ambitions change? Would your relationships shift? Would your perception of yourself transform? Often, we cling to fear because it gives us an identity. I am the person who fears rejection, so I avoid vulnerability. I am the person who fears failure, so I never take risks. But are you really that person? Or have you merely allowed fear to write your story? One of the most powerful tools in this journey is the practice of mindfulness. And no, mindfulness is not just sitting cross-legged with your eyes closed. It is the art of being fully present in every moment. When fear arises, mindfulness teaches us to say, "Ah, there you are, I see you." But we do not engage with fear, nor do we run from it. We simply observe. Imagine walking through a dense forest at night. Every sound seems amplified, every shadow more menacing. But then, you light a lantern. The shadows don't disappear, but they lose their power. This lantern is your conscious awareness. Each time fear whispers, "You can't do this," awareness responds, "I hear you, but I will decide." Let's go deeper. Consider how fear manipulates time. It often roots itself in the past or the future. Remember when you failed before? What if it happens again? Or, what if you try and everyone judges you? But awareness exists only in the now. Right now, as you listen. Are you in danger? Right now, is there anything to fear? The present moment is often free of fear. It is our mind that drags fear from past regrets and future anxieties into our present. Ask yourself this: what if you lived each moment as it is? Without the shadows of what was or what might be, would your fears still hold the same power? But let's not romanticize this journey. Breaking free from fear is not an overnight miracle. It is a relentless commitment. And yes, fear will resist. It will scream louder when it realizes you are no longer enslaved by it. But every time you choose awareness over fear, you chip away at its power. Here's a practical exercise. Each time you feel fear creeping in, pause and ask, what is this fear trying to protect me from? Often, you'll find that fear is not malicious. It is misguided. It tries to protect us. But in doing so, it often limits us. When you acknowledge its intention, you can then choose whether to accept its guidance or not. But let's add another layer. Can you trust yourself enough to navigate life without fear's constant interference? Trust is the antidote to fear. Trust in yourself, in life, in the unknown. But how do we build trust? By proving to ourselves, day by day, that we can face challenges without crumbling. Reflect on this. When was the last time you faced a fear and survived? Perhaps you spoke your truth despite the fear of judgment, or took a leap of faith despite the fear of failure. Remember that moment, relive it. That is evidence that you can endure. Fear often relies on the belief that we are too fragile. Awareness shows us that we are stronger than we believe. As we continue this journey together, let's prepare to dive even deeper. In the next part, we will explore the illusions that fear creates and how awareness dismantles them piece by piece. We will confront the root of our deepest fears and learn how to transform them into sources of strength. Shattering the illusions of fear, a journey to inner liberation through unwavering awareness. Fear, at its core, is often built on illusions. Like a mirage in the desert, it seems real from a distance but dissolves the closer we approach with awareness. But why do these illusions have such a grip on us? Let's delve deeper. Consider the illusion of control. Fear convinces us that if we worry enough, plan enough, or avoid enough, we can control the uncertainties of life. But can we ever truly control life's unfolding? Think about it. How many moments of fear have actually prevented what you feared from happening? Often, fear prepares us for scenarios that never materialize. It's like carrying an umbrella every day in case it rains, but never stepping out to enjoy the sunshine. When we cling to control, we feed our fears, but awareness teaches us a profound truth. We do not need to control everything to be safe. Safety is not the absence of risk but the presence of trust. Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff, the wind howling around you. Fear screams, "Step back, you might fall," but awareness calmly whispers, "Trust your footing, trust yourself." Can you feel the difference? One voice constricts, the other liberates. But let's pause here and ask a question that might unsettle you. What if the fear of losing control is the very thing controlling you? Who would you be if you surrendered the need to control every outcome? Another illusion fear crafts is the illusion of permanence. Fear convinces us that our current state, especially when painful, will last forever. What if this anxiety never goes away? What if I'm always stuck in this situation? But awareness reminds us of the impermanence of all things. Think of the sky. Storms come and go, but the sky remains. Your awareness is that sky, vast, unchanging, eternal. The storms of fear are temporary. Can you embrace the truth that this too shall pass? Here's a powerful practice. When fear grips you, gently remind yourself, this moment is temporary. I am the sky, not the storm. Breathe into that truth. Feel the weight of fear lighten, even if just a little. But let's explore an even deeper illusion, the illusion of identity. Fear often roots itself in our sense of self. I am someone who can't handle pressure. I am someone who always messes up. I am someone who will never be loved. But are you truly your fears? Or are you the awareness that observes these fears? Ask yourself, if all my fears disappeared, who would I be? Would you recognize yourself without the fears that have become familiar companions? This question is not meant to frighten you but to awaken you. Many of us cling to our fears because they give us a sense of identity. Even if that identity is painful, but awareness invites us to discover a deeper self, one unshackled by fear. Imagine a bird in a cage for years. Even when the door is opened, it hesitates to fly out because the cage feels safe, familiar. Our fears are that cage. Awareness opens the door, but will you dare to fly? Let's add a practical layer. Each time fear arises, instead of saying, "I am afraid," try saying, Fear is present. Notice the subtle shift. You are no longer identifying with fear, you are observing it. And an observation cannot control you. But let's be honest, this journey is not easy. Fear will fight back. It will disguise itself as logic, as caution, as being realistic, but awareness sees through the disguise. It asks, is this caution, or is this fear in disguise? Every time you choose to question fear, its grip loosens. Reflect for a moment. What fear has held you back the most in life? And if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? This question is not just philosophical, it's a challenge. A challenge to confront the illusions fear has woven around your dreams. Let's go even deeper. Fear often thrives in isolation. When we feel alone in our struggles, fear magnifies, but awareness connects us to ourselves, to others, to life. Remember a time when someone's understanding or presence eased your fear. That connection is powerful. Now, imagine offering that connection to yourself through awareness. Can you be your own source of comfort and courage? Here's a practice. When fear feels overwhelming, place your hand on your heart and whisper, I am here, I see you, I will not abandon you. This simple act of self-compassion can transform fear into trust. But there's one more illusion we must confront, the illusion of certainty. Fear craves certainty. It wants guarantees. What if this doesn't work out? What if I make a mistake? But life offers no guarantees. And that is its beauty. Awareness teaches us to embrace uncertainty with curiosity rather than fear. Imagine standing at the edge of a forest, not knowing what lies ahead. Fear sees danger. Awareness sees adventure. Ask yourself, what if uncertainty is not a threat but an invitation? An invitation to grow, to explore, to live fully. Can you accept that invitation? As we move forward, prepare to uncover the ultimate truth. Fear's greatest illusion is that it is invincible. In the final part, we will dismantle this illusion and discover how to live fearlessly through unwavering awareness. The ultimate liberation, living fearlessly through unwavering awareness. We have journeyed through the shadows of fear, illuminated its illusions, and now, we arrive at the threshold of liberation. But what does it truly mean to live fearlessly? Is it the absence of fear, or is it something more profound? Let's begin with a question that might challenge you. What if fear is not something to be eliminated, but something to be understood and transcended? True fearlessness is not the absence of fear, it is the presence of unwavering awareness in the face of fear. Imagine standing in the eye of a storm, winds howling, debris flying, but there you are, still, calm, unshaken. That stillness is awareness. That is fearlessness. But how do we cultivate such stillness amidst life's storms? The answer lies in presence. Fear thrives on what ifs. Awareness anchors us in what is. Each moment you fully inhabit is a moment fear cannot dominate. Think of it this way. Fear is like darkness. Awareness is light. The moment light enters, darkness fades. Here's a practice. Each time fear arises, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is real right now? Often, you'll find that fear is rooted in an imagined future or a remembered past. But in the present, you are safe. This realization alone can dissolve much of fear's power. But let's not stop there. Let's confront fear directly. Ask yourself, what is my greatest fear? And what is the worst that could happen if it came true? Often, we avoid this question because it feels too daunting. But awareness is fearless. It invites us to face the worst-case scenario and see that even then, we would survive. Consider this. If you lost everything you fear losing, would you still be you? This question is not meant to evoke sadness but liberation. Our essence, our true self, is unbreakable. Awareness helps us see that we are not our possessions, our status, or even our fears. We are something far deeper, something untouchable by life's uncertainties. But let's add another layer. Fear often whispers, you are not enough. Awareness responds, I am whole. The journey to living fearlessly is a journey to self-acceptance. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing not your flaws, Not your failures, but your essence, pure, radiant, complete. Can you love yourself enough to trust that you can face anything life throws at you? Let's be practical. Each time fear paralyzes you, ask, what small step can I take despite this fear? Fear wants you to freeze. Awareness invites you to move, even if it's just one step. And each step you take is a victory over fear. But what about the fear of the unknown? It's one of the most universal fears. Yet, isn't every moment unknown until we live it? Awareness teaches us to embrace the unknown as a field of infinite possibilities rather than a threat. Imagine walking into a dark room. Fear sees danger. Awareness sees potential. Can you shift your perspective? Here's an exercise. When faced with uncertainty, whisper to yourself, "This is an adventure." Notice how this simple shift transforms fear into curiosity. But let's go deeper still. What if the ultimate fear is the fear of fear itself? Think about it. Often, we fear feeling fear, but what if we welcomed fear as a teacher? Each time fear arises, it is an opportunity to practice awareness, to strengthen our inner stillness. In this sense, fear becomes not an enemy but an ally in our spiritual growth. Let's reflect. When was the last time fear held you back? And what if, in that moment, you had chosen awareness instead? Visualize yourself in that moment, choosing awareness. Feel the difference. But here's a truth that might surprise you. The more you confront fear with awareness, the weaker it becomes, like a fire that burns out when starved of fuel. Fear loses its power when we stop feeding it with avoidance and unconsciousness. Let's add one final practice. Each morning, before the world rushes in, sit in silence and ask yourself, what fears might arise today, and how will I meet them with awareness? This simple intention sets the tone for a fearless day. As we conclude this journey, remember, fear is a story we tell ourselves. Awareness is the blank page on which we can write a new story. You have the pen. What story will you write? Break free. Live fully. Choose awareness.